FMU is probably the country's most renowned freeform station. We've been on the air since 1958, and we specialize in playing the hippie noise music that people hate. The internet has really changed everything. Now everybody knows about everything immediately. On the other hand, there's so much more available now that it kind of makes the role of being a curator or being a filter even more important.
Nowadays, when you have satellite radio that can do specific shows or just the kind of music you want to hear, or Spotify, you're at the driving seat. You know, FMU not only takes you down this path of listening and making connections to all kinds of sounds in the course of even a set, you know, we make it in a way that there's so much variety, and quite often within the scope of not only a program but a set within itself, that I think that's one thing listeners really appreciate.
For KCRW, it's a lot about music discovery, but that doesn't always have to be new music. You know, we're turning people on to world music, to older music, to different genres, and maybe they just haven't come across it yet. We are just uniquely positioned to have an influence well beyond our actual audience. So, yeah, the market's healthy for radio, it's good for us, but think about who's listening to us here in LA. These are the people that are putting music into movies, into video games, into advertising, making a huge difference.
We're still practicing live, human, spontaneous radio. And with all the curation that happens online and all the zillions of musical options you have, I think one thing that's gone missing is the human element. Having an intelligent, humorous person to keep you company through the curation experience. And that disappeared from radio a long time ago, and nothing online has really come up to replace that. There's all sorts of incredible curation, but FMU is still, and stations like FMU, are still one of the only places where people can tune in either over the radio or online and experience a human being.
KCRW.com has been around for quite some time. We were one of the first public radio stations to ever stream digitally. The essence of KCRW really is about being great tastemakers, and you know, there's a legacy of kind of sifting through the noise.
We have to be thinking in terms of being a great broadcaster on any platform. So it's no longer about radio, it's that we are a broadcaster on any platform that will take us.
Well, we embraced the internet really quickly. In fact, we were on the web even before there was a web. We started doing these weird experiments with Bell Labs, with Bellcore, and we allowed people to call into a toll-free number and listen on the boss's dime. And we were doing this in the mid-1980s. And that was kind of like the warning flag we had that the internet was going to take off, when we started that thing up kind of as a joke. And then we realized after a couple of years that there were people all over the country who were calling into this 800 number to listen to us on the speakerphone on their desk.
You know, we were the first station to be streaming on the iPhone. Like, we're this little nonprofit station in New Jersey, and like, why were we the first radio station in the world to do that? I think it's just because we were the only ones who thought, like, hey, let's try that out. And you know, we figured out a way.
We have more listeners than ever. We've done well on the internet, I think, because we embraced it so early, and we're willing to experiment, and we're willing to fail, and then learn from our failures, and then move on.
This room is to a certain extent a trophy room because we have moved to digital largely, but it's really important as the spiritual center and the heart of the radio station, and so it still serves an important purpose. Yeah, we've digitized the entire library, vinyl included. That was a number of years in the works.
This system was built in such a way that these artists, from their bedroom up to, at the place where they're just about to find representation, whatever, anyone can come to this place on the internet and digitally submit their music. And then our DJs have the opportunity then to, sift through that, listen to those tunes.
We have 250,000 songs in our digital library. But yeah, we still play a lot of physical material, a huge 45 RPM collection, a huge LP collection, a very large CD collection.
I use a lot of free music archive music in my podcast every week and on my radio show, and I think it's a really cool thing that we did. I think in one sense WFMU decided, like, okay, it would be really great if we had this sort of like royalty-free collection of music that we actually liked that we could use in case, things go really badly with these negotiations with the Copyright Office.
I think that everyone here at the station is interested in redefining what that terrestrial signal means in the digital landscape. So, I mean, we're radio. We've always been radio, and we'll always continue to embody that spirit, but we're going to do it digitally.